What's going on YouTube? It is Repulse back with another video. In today's video, we have another Chelsea news video. There's a decent amount that happened within the last 24 hours that we need to get into. A lot with incomings, a lot with outgoings. Good mix of both. So, let's just jump straight into it. Talking about our incomings. Talking about, obviously, Xavi Simons and Hato to Chelsea. Fabrizio said this morning that Chelsea maintained total confidence to sign both Hato and Xavi Simons. The negotiations will continue this week with Ajax after there was a total agreement with Hato last week. Deal close. That deal was with personal terms. Xavi Simons wants Chelsea, as we know. He already rejected Bayern Munich and likely to reject Arsenal if they come in. And there are talks with RB Leipzig on the fee/structure of the deal, which are ongoing. So basically, this is just assurance that, hey, stuff is happening behind the scenes. No need to worry, Chelsea fans. We had a slow news day where everyone was freaking out. I think Thursday, and everyone just started freaking out because, there was no news on, Xavi Simons or Hato. Everyone thought, what's happening. Everyone started freaking out. But again, Fabrizio just talking, providing assurance, just like, hey, the deal's still going on. Both of them are in negotiations. And Xavi Simons seems like a formal approach is going to happen soon. Ben Jacobs says that Understand Chelsea are preparing a formal offer for Xavi Simons following positive talks with Leipzig. Discussions have accelerated over the past few days. We know we kind of went in for him on Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere around there, and it seems like talks have really accelerated because, we knew we were interested for a while, but we never really acted on the interest, and now it seems like Xavi Simons is bound to become a Chelsea player, so obviously talks have accelerated, but more Philip Hinze, probably one of the most reliable sources when it comes to Xavi Simons, said that Chelsea, Xavi, and the players' camp are optimistic about a possible deal after the talks so far. Meanwhile, Chelsea are preparing their first offer. It has not yet been submitted. Negotiations are ongoing. Leipzig are hoping for 70 million euros all in with add-ons included, which equates to around 60 million pounds. So you could see something like 50 plus 10, something like that. Performance-based incentives on the add-ons, of course, but people are wondering why Chelsea haven't submitted a first offer. We know it's the higher ups negotiating this deal, so owners of Leipzig as well as Chelsea, obviously Red Bull, are in an entire group. So it's really up to whoever is the higher up negotiating this deal. But yeah, this is basically conversations, understanding what Leipzig want, what Chelsea are willing to pay, and then formal offers are going to be submitted and most likely accepted right away. Because again, the structure of the deal, the fee of the deal is all going to be talked within conversations. There's not just going to be an offer, counter offer, another offer, counter offer again. It's going to be conversations happen, see what both sides want, find a middle ground, and then Chelsea will prepare their first offer. Might get rejected, might be countered for one time, and then again Chelsea will likely accept. So yeah, I think the deal does go through, and it seems like it will. After Chelsea, submit their first offer, which seems to be coming sometime soon, so we can expect to hear we go in the coming days. I've said that for a while, but I do think sometime this week Xavi Simons and Hato become Chelsea players, just so they can, join up for the squad when we have our preseason friendly in, what is it, 4 days? August? No, 6 days. August 2nd, I think or is it August 8th? We can check this real quick. I think it's August 8th. Actually, for Chelsea's first game back at Stamford Bridge. Obviously not a competitive match, but a friendly. But we can, of course, check the dates. There are no friendlies going on today, so let's go to FootMob, and I'll be able to check. Just go to Chelsea. Yeah, August 8th. Excuse me, not August 2nd. So got a long time. Until then, got what? 3 days until the end of August, so 11 days for this deal to happen, just so he can join up and play a game for us then. So yeah, I do expect it to happen sometime soon. Yeah, but it seems like we're preparing our first offer, and Ben Jacobs says that personal terms are already in place with Xavi Simons. We know they were broadly agreed, but it seems like there might be an agreement on personal terms now. Maybe there were more talks with this camp in the last couple of days, or I guess the last 24 hours, and personal terms are finally agreed. Haven't seen a big like an Ornstein or a Fabrizio report that personal terms are agreed yet, but terms seem to be in place with Xavi Simons, so we can expect just club-to-club negotiations at this point. No worrying about Xavi Simons and how much we're paying him or anything like that, because it seems like the contract is already agreed to. So yeah, we can expect Xavi Simons to come to Chelsea again. Really excited for him. I think we could run him with the double 10. I think we could run him at the left wing, right wing, even center forward. I know some people say he can't play the false 9. He can. He has a couple of games there, mainly as a shadow striker, false nine, but he can still play there if you really need him to. So again, if Jackson leaves, that could always be a third striker choice, or Pedro Neto, of course, as well. Um, they're very similar in the way they do that. There, my mic was tweaking out for a sec. Excuse me for that. But yeah, terms are already in place, so it seems like Javi Simmons will become a Chelsea player in the coming days. But moving on to the other Dutchman, Joel Hato. I don't know how to pronounce that name. It's a Dutch source from Holland, obviously. Um, and he says that in and around Ajax, they say they want a fee of 50 million euros, which would also be a wonderful amount, despite asking for 52 million pounds. Um, but both parties are expected to meet in the middle somewhere, and it is not that far away. So, they're basically saying that a deal could be agreed to in the coming days, coming hours. Really don't know, but it seems like there's advancements in negotiations, and the fee will be agreed to sometime soon for Joel Hato. But more. Fabrizio said that Chelsea and Ajax will be in direct contact at the start of the week. This is yesterday, Sunday, so obviously they're in direct contact right now. And Hato has been clear with Ajax. He wants Chelsea, and he only wants Chelsea, and he was excluded from their lineup yesterday. So, you can tell he's really pushing for the move. Doesn't really want to play for Ajax anymore. Wants to move to Chelsea, wants to go to the Premier League, which, in total agreement for, because I do love the player. I love the profile. I think, if we need him to play center half, he can. If he wants to play left back, he can. I think he's going to get a good amount of minutes next year for him to develop and just nurture into the Premier League, get used to the speed and all that, and it also gives Cucurella some valuable rest. And then David Ornstein actually came and spoke on Joel Hato, so everyone's kind of expecting this deal to be done sometime soon. He said that Chelsea are closing in on deal to sign Joel Hato from Ajax. There's an agreement between Chelsea and Ajax yet to be reached, but getting near. Compromise expected in the coming days on a price above 40 million euros, which is around 35 million pounds. Personal terms are in place for the 19-year-old Netherlands defender. Yeah, I could expect Chelsea going to the 40 million pound mark instead of 40 million euros. And I think Ajax would be willing to accept that. That's around, I think, 48 million euros. No, 47 million euros, something like that. But personal terms are in place. We know that happened a couple of days ago, but it seems like it's going to be a pretty cheap deal for a player of his quality as well as his age. Really been a golden boy for some time now. I think everyone knows the name of Joel Hato since he was around 17. Already in the Netherlands lineup, starts at left back for them sometimes, and then Frimpong on the other end. So yeah, really good player, really excited to bring him in, and it seems like it's bound to happen at some point either today or in the coming days, and Fabrizio even spoke. Fabrizio said that Chelsea are prepared to get the Hato deal done in the next days or even hours. It's advancing to final stages. Hato believes in the Chelsea project and to become a superstar at Chelsea on a very long-term contract. I think the deal is like 8 years, something like that, or 7 plus 1, something stupid like that. So yeah, he's going to be here till like 2033 if, he doesn't move clubs. But yeah, it seems like we're prepared to get the deal done. It seems like it will get done sometime soon. And glad to see that, he believes in the project, wants to be here. And I do think he can become a superstar, especially like filling the role of Cucurella when Cucurella ends up aging, and just losing his value as well as losing his legs a little bit, because fullbacks tend to age quite quicker than other positions, and that is pretty much why Joel Hato is being brought in, to be accompanied to Marco Cucurella as well as a left center back option, so Colwell can move to the central center half position. And Matt Law even backed that up and said Telegraph Sport understands that Chelsea view Hato as predominantly providing depth and competition at left back. I think the depth comes in the center half position, and then competition at left back to Cucurella as well. Obviously providing depth there as well. But yeah, I expect him to be a backup player for us, but I expect him to get plenty of game time, because Cucurella does need rest. He played over 5,000 minutes last season, which is absolutely absurd for any player. So you could expect Cucurella to get some rest this season with Hato in the door. Really good player. You're bringing in a level to be a backup, which I completely agree with, because I think we need to raise the standards at this club, and I think Joel Hato definitely does do that. Because you can play him anywhere, and he's going to be at a great level anywhere he plays at. Pacey left back, pacey left center back, wherever you want to play him. Can defend well, can progress the ball well, can even play CDM if you really want him to. Let him invert from that left back position. He's more than capable of doing that. But if he does start at left back for a game, I expect him to play left center back technically, and then allow Reece James to move into the midfield. So that's what I expect him to do. But you could always see him invert. He's not horrible at doing that. You could also see him do the Cucurella thing where he kind of plays left wing. He has enough pace to do that. So yeah, we could expect Joe Hato to be a, butcher's knife, a very versatile piece on that back line next season when he comes through the door. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Seems like this deal is going to be completed sometime soon, and maybe even today. So you might get a second news video today talking about the here we go, but we'll see if it happens today or not. I think it's very feasible. I think any day now could be either Hato or Sims coming through, or maybe two in one day. But yeah, depth and competition. And then Jackson got linked to Newcastle again today. MSI Douglas, he's a Northern football source, talks about Everton, talks about Liverpool, talks about Newcastle, Sunderland, all of them. And says that there's already been preliminary contact made on Jackson by Newcastle, but Chelsea are quoting teams £80 million. Sources believe that Newcastle's valuation is closer to 65, so hopefully we can meet in the middle with some add-ons to make it an £80 million package. I don't know if Newcastle would be willing to do that, but if they do cash in on Isak, which is around probably 130, 140 million pounds, which is absolutely absurd, I could expect them being willing to pay Jackson prices. Obviously, they're in for Šeško, but they're facing competition to Man United for his signature. It seems like he could really go either way. It's just what he prefers. Obviously, Newcastle has Champions League football, but Man United has the brand name, and they're trying to rebuild, so you can see him go there as well. But yeah, I think if Manchester United lose out on Šeško, then we can see Jackson potentially go there. If Newcastle lose out on Šeško, then we can see Jackson go to Newcastle. And right now, the links are subsiding with Newcastle. I would accept the £65 million bid, to be honest. That's double the amount we made for Jackson, and he's been here for 2 years, so it's a massive profit on the books. But I understand the £80 million quota that we're giving out. Obviously, Ekitike, similar striker to Jackson, went for £79 million. Even Rasmus Højlund, who's worse than Jackson, went for 73. So yeah, I understand the price range that Chelsea's going for. If other teams are selling their strikers who are similar players to Jackson, similar profile, similar production to Jackson, then for that price, then obviously we're going to sell him for a similar price. So I could see Chelsea milking it for £80 million. But I do expect Jackson to move this summer. It seems like it's bound to happen at some point. And I do think the destination is most likely to be Newcastle if they do move on from Isak, because I do think Jackson is a similar profile to Isak, just doesn't have the ball striking that he has, obviously. But if Jackson develops that, he is a top striker. But I would cash in on Jackson. I do think we have good enough striking options with Delap and Joao Pedro. So if Newcastle decide to come in for Nicholas Jackson, we could expect them to move on. And hopefully that valuation from £65 million is raised a little bit, just so there's more money coming into Chelsea, which makes deals accelerate a little quicker. But more, Donnarumma was linked to Chelsea today. Sacha Tavolieri said that a meeting will be held to finalize Donnarumma's departure. PSG has opened the door to negotiations with a foreign club, and Chelsea and Galatasaray are among the most interested. Yeah, I wouldn't bring Donnarumma in, to be honest. He's a good shot stopper. He's not the greatest with the ball at his feet. I think him and Sanchez are very similar in terms of, goalkeeping profiles. I think Sanchez can make worldly saves as well. I think Sanchez is one of the best shot stoppers in the world, and we saw that against PSG when he didn't really have to play with the ball at his feet too much. I do think he's one of the best goalkeepers when it comes to shot stopping, as well as Donnarumma. I think Donnarumma is slightly better than Sanchez at shot stopping. Don't get me wrong. I think Donnarumma is a, better overall goalkeeper than Sanchez, but I wouldn't bring him in. I'd rather, Mike Mignon or someone that can play with the ball at his feet. But yeah, it seems like Donnarumma is headed out, and Chelsea are linked to him. Again, I wouldn't sign him, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't be mad if we did end up signing him. I do think he's, an upgrade on Sanchez, don't get me wrong. Just a slight upgrade, and I'd rather someone who's a massive upgrade with the ball playing ability, because Donnarumma and Sanchez both don't really have those qualities, so don't really understand the point of bringing him in. But Matt Law did speak and said that Chelsea are not currently amongst clubs interested in signing Donnarumma. We've seen him linked to Man City, we've seen him linked to Man United, we've seen him linked to Galatasaray. So yeah, don't really know where he's headed off to, but it doesn't seem like Chelsea are one of those options, and I'm pretty glad because, if it's Donnarumma that we're in for, I'd rather just keep Sanchez and, stick with him for another season. Obviously similar age goalkeepers, but I do think Sanchez can develop with the ball at his feet a little bit more than Donnarumma can. Donnarumma is just predominantly booted out. Obviously PSG backline is excellent at playing with the ball at their feet, so they're predominantly the ones doing the work, but in the Maresca system, he likes the goalkeeper to have the ball at his feet quite a bit, and I don't think Donnarumma would be great at that, so That's why I wouldn't bring him in. But it doesn't seem like we're amongst the clubs in for him. But then second to last, excuse me. Mike Penders is headed off to Strasbourg on loan. We know this already, but he's traveling today to join up with Strasbourg, and Kendrick Pires is next up on loan. I completely agree with this. I think Mike Penders needs game time to, develop, especially with the ball at his feet. I don't know if he was doing that too much at Genk. Definitely watch a couple games if I can from last season to see if he can play with the ball at his feet or not. He's 6'7" goalkeeper, really, really exciting talent. I think he could progress a lot with game time. And I'm really excited to see what the future holds for him. Yeah, because I do think he's someone that can come in after Sanchez is done and, really, really come in and do a job for us, be our number one goalkeeper for the time moving forward. I think he's our future goalkeeper, and I think he will develop well at Strasbourg and then, come back, maybe be a number 2 goalkeeper for a year and then end up being the number 1 after that. So my mic's doing that same thing again. But Kendrick Pires next up for Strasbourg. I do expect him to go out alone, and I do expect him, Penders, as well as, who was the other one? Mamadou Sarr to absolutely kill it next season. And yeah, we'll definitely be tuning into Strasbourg when they play in the Conference League as well as Liga. Because I do want to see Mike Penders' development as well as Kendrick Pires, because we know he is an excellent talent as well. And then last, we have Marco Corella, randomly linked to Al Nassr yesterday by, I think, a Saudi Arabian source. Actually like a Portuguese source that obviously follows Cristiano Ronaldo because it's Ronaldo, but we know Cristiano Ronaldo is in charge of the signings at Al Nassr this summer, and apparently he wanted Marco Corella at Al Nassr, and fans started freaking out yesterday, like, okay, give us 150 million and then we'll start talking. But Bobby Vincent said there's zero chance that Marco Corella leaves Chelsea, thank God, despite reports linking him with Al Nassr. And then that was backed up by Ben Jacobs saying that Chelsea will not entertain any offers from Marco Corella, basically saying he's staying at Chelsea regardless. No team could pay any amount for Chelsea to let him go. And I agree completely. I love Marco Corella. I love the way he settled into this Chelsea team. Definitely criticized him 2023, 2024, as well as 2022, 2023 when the team was just awful. But he's really developed, really settled in at Chelsea, and really been a good player for us the last season, as well as the ending to the Pochettino season when he started inverting his fullbacks as well. But yeah, we're not entertaining any offers. I'm glad. I think we should keep the core that we have right now, and that consists of Marco Corella as well. But yeah, that is everything. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Finally back with the news, finally back with daily news. You could probably expect a second video later on today if there's more that comes out. Enough to make another video. That means there will be another video. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, again, please be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, it's Repulse, and I'm out. Peace.